While Rapunzel and Cassandra were using the power of the sun and moon to clash, in the shadows an enchanted girl, who had been pulling Cass away from all who loved her, revealed her true identity to the world when she freed her true form. She was in fact not a friend, she was not a caring guide, she was not by Cassandra's side to support her. No, that blue spirit was in fact an ancient demonic evil who has been threatening Corona and the world for thousands of years. She was Zhan Tiri. But who is Zhan Tiri? How do we know this to be true? And how could this have happened? Hello, I'm Isaac from Wotso Videos, where we discuss fun topics for fun people. I'm focused on spreading magic by discussing Disney, so if you are new here, consider subscribing. Zhan Tiri is a powerful sorcerer who came from another dimension. This being has unleashed an all-consuming blizzard upon Corona, has corrupted a life-providing tree to destroy anyone who came towards it, and has hunted down the Sundrop and the Moonstone. According to legend, as long as anyone could remember, Zhan Tiri has been causing chaos upon the world, but eventually, due to the work of an engineer named Lord Demanitus, who worked with magic and science, he was able to thwart the threat even when his own pupils betrayed him to follow the evil entity. Zhan Tiri has a history of corrupting those who seem pure of heart. She's pretty tactical, smart, and effective, but she definitely plays dirty. Luckily though, Demanitus used all of his power to banish the warlock from the world. He forced her into her realm, but still Zhan Tiri's followers continued to pursue their master's goals. The servant Surjaputra, the Eternal, attempted to free Zhan Tiri through a ceremony that was able to open a portal into her master's prison. Rapunzel and a bunch of her friends all painted a picture of a tree, and then all of a sudden a portal emerged. So I don't exactly know how difficult it is to get to this world. It's obviously not super easy, but there seems to be a lot of ways to get there. But even though there could be a lot of ways to get to that dimension, to get to Zhan Tiri, that plan failed. And the next one did as well. The follower Trammus vowed to keep the Sundrop trapped so that Zhan Tiri could have all of the Sundrop's powers transferred to him. But luckily Rapunzel was able to knock herself out of that dream, and with Eugene and Lance getting her out of there, they were all safe. Trammus and his home just kind of faded away, but Zhan Tiri's presence definitely did not. Throughout the thousands of years that Zhan Tiri had left her presence upon the world, she had proven that she was a threat unlike any other that had come against Rapunzel and Corona, which really made me believe that this was the true villainous figure that would arise during Rapunzel's adventure. From all of these little details about this warlock, from various stories on Rapunzel's journey, it only seemed like a matter of time until Zhan Tiri would come back, and eventually she did, through the manipulation of Rapunzel's best friend and sister, Cassandra. You see, Zhan Tiri was able to project her form into Rapunzel's world and use that ability to break down and rebuild Cassandra for her own purposes. By revealing the truth that Cassandra's mother was in fact Mother Gothel, Zhan Tiri, in the form of the little enchanted girl, was able to convince Cass to turn away from her best friend Rapunzel, steal the Moonstone for herself, and attack Corona. But this wasn't to uplift Cassandra, whose mother is likely a follower of Zhan Tiri herself. It was to ensure that the Moonstone would fall into the hands of someone who would be prepared to use it against the Sundrop. She desired for the Sun incantation and the Moon incantation to clash, though we wouldn't know that goal or her true identity until her power was able to be restored. To see my video discussing how these powerful incantations differ from the ones we have seen before, you can find a link to that video in the description along with my playlist of all of my Tangled videos. Throughout her time as a spirit, Zhan Tiri tactfully orchestrates these two girls learning about the Sun incantation and the Moon incantation, and drives them both to fight one another. Cassandra was guided by the Enchanted Girl by convincing her that she needed to fulfill her destiny and unleash the power that she possessed in the Moonstone. And by submitting the boy Varian, who was deciphering those incantations from the Demanitus scroll, to a dream where she told him how to unlock the secret of the Sun incantation, Rapunzel was able to finally utilize all of the power of the Sundrop. In that dream, we truly begin to be shown how deeply this spirit is connected to Zhan Tiri. We see her floating on the tree that looks very similar to the one used in Surjaputra's ceremony, and we can notice structures all around the world with Zhan Tiri's symbol upon it. This was definitely when I had a feeling that the Enchanted Girl's knowledge, magic, and presence in Rapunzel's story was going to be extremely diabolical. I mean, she had already ripped away Rapunzel's best friend, but I wasn't sure when we would learn why she was having such a massive presence in Cassandra's life. But it all became clear when Rapunzel sends her first powerful blast of energy with the sun incantation. When the magic rushed past the Enchanted Girl, we didn't just see her silhouette, but one with the horns of Zhan Tiri upon her. And at that point, it was game over for me. It was clear the Enchanted Girl was Zhan Tiri, and suddenly everything became clear. Zhan Tiri guided each of these girls to possess these incantations in hopes of pressuring them both to use them against one another. And she did so while just having the most wild and crazy faces I've ever seen. They're absolutely horrifying pieces of animation. I mean, most of the time the Enchanted Girl seemed like sweet and just kind of manipulative, but in this episode, in Cassandra's revenge, all of a sudden she just becomes like a true demon. Like, these are faces that I feel like I would be haunted by. Through every disturbing little movement of her face, we clearly can see she wanted Rapunzel and Cassandra against one another. And when that finally happens, after prodding and ensuring that both women would go through with the fight, that Enchanted Girl's goal became realized. The clashing of the two incantations caused the world to warp and form a portal to another realm, which is immediately capitalized by that monstrous spirit. She flies within it, leading to her disappearing for the remainder of Rapunzel and Cassandra's fight, only to return when Cassandra was alone. I know I praised this show a lot, but it definitely deserves it. There are so many interesting visual cues that are going on in this episode, and honestly, one thing that I keep seeing on Twitter that has been resonating with me more and more is the idea that there's so many shots that just seem like portraits. And when Rapunzel and Cassandra are fighting each other, or when this orb suddenly forms and starts bending the entire world, everything just feels so massive, large, and cinematic. It's just a joy to watch, and it's also very fulfilling when elements like Zhan Tiri were established from the beginning to show up in some of the final fights. Zhan Tiri was destined to return, and that happened when another portal opened up after the fight concluded, and the Enchanted Girl came out with a physical form for the first time. But of course, she wasn't just some girl. With her stating that she had finally been able to escape her prison, I was finally certain, more than ever, that she was the warlock that had been foretold in Corona's legends. She was the demonic spirit that had brought her tyranny, corruption, and evil upon the world, who had now returned. But now that she's back, what could she possibly be hoping to accomplish? From everything we know about Zhan Tiri, she has always strived for power and control, so I think her sights will be set on first going after those who could possibly take her down, which of course means she'll be targeting the shoeless princess with a trusted chameleon and an ex-rogue by her side. Beyond that though, I don't know what she wants. What's so special about Rapunzel's world? Why has she been clamoring to come back? Let me know what you think she's after down in the comments. It could be that Zhan Tiri is returning to only take revenge upon those who banished her. Maybe there's just people to actually rule in this world, or maybe she just wants to be able to prove she can claim any realm for herself. Whatever she's going to do though, man, I hope she stops making such creepy faces, and I hope she is able to unleash the form we have seen her depicted as in the past. I want to see what makes Zhan Tiri such a horrible force to face. I hope we get to understand why so few have been able to stop her, and what it will take for her to be defeated again. Unfortunately, as I said before, Demanitus had to give up his life to stop Zhan Tiri. And if you saw my video about what I think might happen if Cassandra is redeemed, I'm worried that will have to happen again. The rift between Rapunzel and Cassandra grew out of the necessity for them to face one another with ancient magic at their disposal by a demonic warlock, and I think it's possible that they might be brought together again by that same entity. Maybe once they realize the threat that's coming their way and their role in her return, that they will be able to make amends for what has happened between them, because at some point Zhan Tiri will have to be stopped. She's too much of a threat to leave unchecked in the world, but I fear that Rapunzel and Corona on their own won't be able to stop her, so hopefully Cassandra will be willing to join the cause to see this ancient evil be defeated. But that will all have to be discovered as Rapunzel's journey continues forward every week on Disney Channel and Disney Now. For now, what we know is Rapunzel's greatest foe is finally here. Zhan Tiri has been freed, and that can only mean that heartbreak, destruction, and darkness are coming. Fun people, thank you for supporting the channel by liking the video, buying the Wotso Videos merchandise over at wotsostore.com, following my adventures on Instagram, and for subscribing and clicking the beautiful bell if you're new. I'm Isaac from Wotso Videos, where we discuss fun topics for fun people. I'm focused on spreading magic by discussing Disney. Thanks for watching, and have a magical day.